it would be really difficult to light this candle with this candle because this candle is not lit, and it's not even in a position where the flames could be spread. At Surprise, we give people, I guess you could call them little candles, little ways to invite people, because we have this belief that when you believe, you're like lit up with the glory of God, or when you connect with God's people, you have some sort of flame to share. You're like this little lighter dealie, and you can offer something to the people in your life. That's pretty cool. When you know Jesus, or even if you don't know much about God, today we're going to talk about what you can do to spread light in the world, even if you're the farthest thing from an expert you could possibly be. I'm Pastor Matt, and this is Worship Anywhere.
We believe in a God
who would rather surprise than condemn us,
who would rather die than lose us,
who throws parties to welcome lost people home.
We are 18.
A force.
A community. A family.
filled with the humble wonder of serving a surprising God.
We practice radical generosity,
Experiencing life together.
And the willingness to be used by God.
Anywhere, anytime.
We exist to share this God.
with a world that needs Him now more than ever.
We welcome anyone to join us, regardless of their past.
Because our God promises
A better than expected future. Thank you for watching.
Hey everyone, Pastor Matt Anderson here. Thank you for joining us for our new edition of Worship Anywhere. Glad you're here. Before we go on, follow the text prompts below and the app download below to get involved, to stay connected. And by the way, we would love your support for our new kindness initiative. And so if you are interested in supporting some of the outreach we do at Surprise, you can click that give button, or you can text give to the number on your screen, and it'll show you how to support either the kindness initiative, where we're taking kindness clubs and relating to kids in local elementary schools to increase their sense of self and help them understand how to live and act out of empathy to make a difference in the world around them and take ownership over kinder schools. It's a movement that's really catching on, and we're excited to make a difference in our city and beyond. And so love your support for that, as well as just the ministries of Surprise, helping to make these productions happen, helping to hire and train and guide our gifted team. Thank you so much for all your support and helping us to be a strong, effective church. We're finishing up a series called Come and See. Come and See comes from John chapter 1, where the disciples just started following Jesus and immediately start inviting other people to follow Jesus. They didn't get a degree, they didn't go to school, they didn't have much time with him at all. They just knew enough. By knowing him, they knew enough to be able to say, guys, we found him, we found it, we found the thing, we found the one. Most people go through life not sure what they're searching for, and when they find it, they want to show it to other people. When they find it, that key to reality, they want others to see it. And that's what we're going to be talking more about today. Here's a picture of something that doesn't look possible because it's not. Let's say you had a little tea light. For Christmas Eve at Surprise, when we get together every year for Christmas, we do Silent Night by candlelight. Except fire code doesn't allow us to light actual candles, so we use tea lights. Now, what I miss about the metaphor of actual candles is that you can light other people's candles and share the light. But tea lights, if you try to take a tea light and light a real candle, just don't do it in public, because they're going to think you're crazy. They're going to think something's wrong with you. They're going to think like, okay, stay away from that person. They should be in a padded room in a straitjacket because something's not right in the head there. That's not possible because that candle's not really burning. When it comes to faith, we want our candles to actually burn so that we have something to share. Faith in Jesus is contagious. I don't want anyone hearing this feeling deflated now. I don't want you feeling not good enough in your faith now. Just let all the negativity aside. Faith in Jesus is contagious. So if I'm not eager to share my faith, I have to ask the question, what is my faith in? Is my faith in emotional experiences? Finding a cool building to attend worship in once in a while because I like the music? Is my faith in myself? Is my faith in my career? Is my faith in my looks and my appearance? Is my faith in having fun enough in life so that I look back and look at all my social media posts and feel like I lived a life well? Is that what is my faith in? Because if it's in those things, you're going to share those things. The thing that I share is the thing I have faith in. And so when you find yourself talking about the things you're passionate about, there's nothing wrong with it. And we're passionate about a lot of things. It's good to be passionate and excited about food, travel, wine, fun, this and that, and hobbies and whatever. And you're going to find yourself sharing things you're passionate about. But faith in the God of the universe, if people can't tell that by far is the most essential thing about who I am and the thing I'm most excited about, then I have to go back to the drawing board and say, wait a minute, where is my faith? And is my faith in the right thing? Because I should be sharing the right thing if my faith is in the right thing. Faith in Jesus is and should be contagious. Now look at Psalm 34. That's the passage we're going to be dwelling in today. It's worth reading the whole passage. It's sort of a passage that looks like the wisdom you get after following God for a while. But here's the thing. If you haven't been following God at all, or for a while, or for a long while, you get to benefit from the wisdom of someone who has. This psalm was written by King David, and it was actually at a time in King David's life when he was pretending to be insane in order to get out of trouble. And it was a really interesting time in his life. You can go ahead and read about it. I won't go into it. But he was a very sly man, very wise man in life and in faith. And here he's sharing his wisdom having to do with his faith. Listen to what he's learned over the years of his life. I will extol the Lord at all times. Future tense, I'm going to praise God in the future. Well, how can you say that? What if things aren't going well? I will extol the Lord at all times. His faith is not predicated on circumstances. His praise will always be on my lips. I'm not going to take a break from faith in this God no matter how things go. He's that good. I will glory in the Lord. Now look what he's doing now. Let the afflicted hear and rejoice. Hey everybody, glorify the Lord with me. Let us exalt his name together. In other words, David is writing the reasons he wants other people to come and see his God. His faith in this God, he's saying, I'm going to be praising him in the highs and lows because my God is bigger and better than any circumstance. And I can still celebrate his goodness and love in my life and his purpose for my life and his promises for my destiny, no matter what I'm going through. And I'm going to worship him at all times. I will always worship him. And guess what? That is so good. I'm getting so excited as I'm saying it. Everybody come and worship him with me. It's just like this natural overflow of his faith. I'm thinking about how great God is, and I'm then reaching out and inviting other people to connect with him with me. Come and see, come and see, come and see. He's a candle lighting other candles. He's burning with an actual flame, not a fake flame. See, faith is invitational. Faith in this God is invitational because God is too good to be kept private. If you ever found yourself in a season, and I was in a season when I was in high school where I was really ashamed to be a Christian. I'm ashamed to admit it now, but it wasn't cool to be like a church guy. I went to church with other people that went to church, and I got confirmed. But in school, it wasn't like, I didn't think it was cool to be like talking about your faith and upfront about your faith. And I chose to go to a see you at the pole flag event the first day of school, and where you got in a circle and prayed. And I just remember thinking, gosh, I hope no one sees me. I was hiding my head in the circle, just worried that somebody would walk by on their way to school and identify me as one of those weird praying people. And I want to go back and talk to that kid and say, what are you afraid of? And where is your faith? Is your faith in this awesome God you're talking to? If so, you'd want them to see you celebrating him. But if you're afraid of other people, Matt, watching you pray or seeing you gather in Jesus' name, it's probably time to think about what your faith is in and where it should be. Because knowing God for who he is, knowing the real God, it leads to sharing God. If you know him for who he is, you're going to want to share him. If you're connecting with him, you're going to want to be a connector to others for him. It's just how faith in this God works. And so oftentimes we can diagnose when something's wrong in our faith or when we're misplacing our faith in someone or something other than the real, true God in Jesus Christ when we're not wanting to share him. When we're focused on ourselves, our ambitions, our goals, our career, our pleasure, our misery, whatever. Knowing God leads to sharing God. That's a measure of health, and it's something to strive for. But oftentimes the excuses that come when we talk about that are very consistent. Take a look at this slide. Oftentimes I hear from people, who am I? I don't know enough. Most people at Surprise are surprised to hear when we say we think you could be a great leader in one of our ministries. We think you would be perfect for a community group. We think you belong on this team. And most of the time people are like, whoa, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a teacher, I'm not a leader. I haven't been studying the Bible my whole life. I can't recite long passages of scripture. I don't know enough. I want you and I to banish that thinking from our vocabulary. The I don't know enough should have been proven wrong the very moment Jesus called his first disciples, who barely knew him, and they looked at their friends and said, come and see. Come and meet Jesus. They couldn't answer hardly any questions about him. They know less about Jesus, the first disciples, and even after Jesus rose from the dead, those disciples, having spent 3 years with Jesus face to face, knew less about Jesus than you do. Because you and I have the benefit of millennia of history playing out, realizing what happened and who he truly was. You know more than they do. And yet the first day the disciples met Jesus, they began inviting other people. You are qualified to burn so brightly in your faith that you can tilt your candle to other people. You do know enough if you know him. Or if you know an environment like a church where you can point to others, you know enough. I'm going to keep reading Psalm 34, and again, listen to the wisdom that comes over a life of walking with God. I sought the Lord and he answered me. God answers people. He delivered me from all my fears. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered in shame. This poor man called, and the Lord heard him. He saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. These are all promises that you and I have from God. Now you might say, I haven't experienced this in my life. Okay. David did. And he wrote it down so you and I could steal his learned experience of who God is. Many people in your life have experienced God this way. Many people at Surprise have experienced God this way. And if you think honestly about your own life, the fact that you're alive and kicking today means that you have experienced God in some of these ways, whether you know it or not. Do you really not know enough about this God? Katie was working with a client named Jill who didn't have a church. And Katie decided to take the risk of talking about God, church at work, and invited Jill to Surprise. Jill brought her son Jaden to Surprise weeks ago. They had such a great experience that Jaden couldn't stop talking about it at home, and when a relative named Jennifer overheard with her daughter Aria, she felt like she had to check this out, and Jill invited Jennifer to come and hang out at Surprise with them. And they had such a great time. Last weekend, I happened to meet the person they invited to church named Alyssa. And so Katie invited Jill and Jaden and Jennifer and Aria, and then Alyssa got invited because people who probably couldn't tell you everything about the Bible or answer every question about Jesus or take on the role of religious scholar are helping people's lives change by simply tilting their candle in the right direction and saying, come and see. Are you saying, come and see? Is your faith in the real God? If so, who are you sharing him with? See, you have enough right now to invite. You have everything you need to help somebody else connect with God. And a lot of you listening to me are like, Nice try, Pastor. Nice try. That's all pastor talk. That's a little motivational pep talk to just go and be churchy, but I wouldn't know the first thing to say. Not true. You know how to direct someone to watch these sermons. That's one thing you can say. If you're local to our area, you know how to get to our church and bring someone with you. Many people who've only come to Surprise Church or watched Surprise Church once, you have all the experience you need because you can say to someone else, I've been there and it was awesome. The most important thing that people need to hear is, will I be judged? Or will I feel like I don't belong or know enough? That's the biggest concern that people have. We hear it over and over and over again. In all the videos we've been showing you, it's the big question, what if I'll get judged or not know enough? And if you share your experience of saying, no, I got there and I didn't even know where the bathroom was and someone actually took me to the bathroom. That was kind of nice of a stranger to show me where the bathrooms were, and then they showed me where I get coffee and sit down, and nobody made me feel dumb. Nobody made me feel out of place. Instead, they actually smiled and were super friendly and made me feel welcome. That story I've heard told over and over and over again by people who are not experts, but shared their experience of what it was like. And that was all someone that they were inviting needed to hear. Your kids, if you brought kids to Surprise, they have experience. Like Jaden came to Surprise with his mom and all of a sudden was talking about it to relatives and family and friends because they now have an experience that they can share of being welcomed and loved. Our kids ministry team is now beginning to send, with Barb Antoine's great leadership, they're going to be sending out birthday cards to kids just to let them know that they matter and they count and we love them and we're celebrating when a new kid comes or brings a friend. They are going to be getting more and more positive experience in our Club Kindness, our kids ministry, and they're going to be able to invite and share and talk about it. You're going to be able to also share the experience of others. When you see the videos we show about people coming to Surprise and having their lives change, you get to borrow from that experience. Hey, you'll never guess what happened to this person that started to come to our church and their life changed. Last week, you heard from John Pope, who we met as a church doing ministry in jail, where he was wrongfully accused and had to spend some time before he could clear his name. But we met him in jail, and boy, you get to borrow from the experience of someone who came to faith in jail and is now preaching and sharing the gospel with others. You get to share the experience of others. Now, Psalm chapter 34 gets to verse 8, and that's the real power verse I want to bring home today. And it makes me think of a good cheeseburger. You know, if you have a good cheeseburger, you don't just keep that to yourself, right? A really good burger must be shared. Psalm 34:8 says this, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. Now again, I grew up on a farm and we grew our own cattle. When my dad got really mad at a cow, he'd look at it with one big strong arm and he'd scream, "Your hamburger!" And he would load that cow into the trailer and take him to the butcher. Talk about the ultimate form of revenge upon a cow that's been naughty. We would be eating that cow for dinner the next month because that cow was violent and always getting in fights and breaking through fences and kicking us and stuff. So, you know, we grew our own hamburger. You could say we would be burger experts because we grew the burger ourselves. You don't have to grow your own burger to be an expert about a cheeseburger or a hamburger. You just have to taste it. And you put that burger in your mouth and it tastes good, you have all the experience you need to go to someone else and say, "This is a good burger. You want to buy it? You want to get your own? It's a good burger. Get a burger, it's good." That's all the experience you need. And I am telling you, that is more powerful to people than a pastor going into a business and saying, "Would you come to the church I work for?" No, you're supposed to come and say that, Pastor. You're supposed to want people to go to the church you work for. But if someone goes to church with the smell of juicy burger, I know I'm carrying this metaphor, so just bear with me. And if you go into everyday life and you're just like jacked up about this church you go to and these people you know, and you're like, "You gotta taste this is good, you gotta taste and see." You get the point, right? I mean, I better not do the rest of this message with a pretend burger bite in my mouth for you. You get the point, all right? So I'll spare you the rest. I'll stop drooling and I'll spare you the rest of that. The point is, if you've tasted, whether you've come to church once, whether you've had an experience with a community group at Surprise, whether you've served in a kindness club at a local elementary school, whether you've been on a serving team that's visited someone in the hospital or brought someone meals or opened doors on Sunday or served in our nursery or blessed our kids in club kindness ministry, whatever you've experienced and tasted, you've got everything you need to turn to someone else and say, taste this burger, it's flippin' amazing. So move away from that mindset of I don't know enough. You are the expert of your own experience. And if someone trusts you and they hear you say, this is good, they'll listen. In other words, who can't say, taste, and see? You can go to someone in your life and say something like, I really felt welcomed at this church. My life changed at this church. My kids loved it. We're growing as a family. I'm happier. I visited with a woman after church last week who just said, I'm feeling more free in my life than I've ever felt. I'm like, yes, I love this. And she's going to be inviting people all week long. I know it. Another person says, it helps my week, or you'd love it, come with me. That's all the expertise that is needed. People say, if it's good enough for you, I trust you, I'll buy it. I'll try it. Once a member of our church invited a woman named Grace to come and connect at Surprise. Grace invited Devin. Devin's been playing in our band ever since. Devin invited his fiance, Sam, to Surprise. She's now serving on our setup team as an amazing person. She's talked about inviting lots of people. I met 2 people last week that Sam invited to Surprise, one of which was her mom, Lori, who's just glowing about her experience of being life-giving relationships and a sense of welcome and belonging when she was really expecting to be judged or excluded. So many people say it took me a month to work out the courage to visit Surprise after someone invited me, and I felt so welcomed. Here's the thing. I don't know what I need to know to invite the people in your life to connect with us at Surprise. You know more than I do. You know people that I don't know. And 4 out of 5 people who trust you will say yes if you ever invited them to connect with our Surprise family. Whether that's watching these videos or joining us in person. I want to challenge you to pray this way. God, who are you calling me to invite into a relationship with you? Show me how to say, taste, and see to the people around me. Show me what that looks like in my life. To go to a restaurant or to work or walk the streets of my neighborhood and live a taste and see invitational life. Start praying for opportunities, realizing that 4 out of 5 people who know you and trust you are going to say yes. There's an individual I am planning to invite this week. And I'm like, I think we've developed a relationship where this feels appropriate. I'm just gonna invite them. At our Bring a Friend Sunday coming up on September 10th, every day Sunday's Bring a Friend Sunday, but this Sunday we're going to celebrate invitation. We're asking people to pray for opportunities to invite, and then we're giving away prizes to both inviters and the new guests that join us. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to celebrate new life and new growth and celebrate invited. We're going to put these red I invited, like I voted stickers. That's the kind of play on the sticker. We're going to put those on anybody who invites if they're willing, and just celebrate the power of an invitation, because we've seen it change lives over and over. If you're in worship with us, make sure this weekend to grab a stack of invite cards to just bring wherever you go, spread far and wide. And wherever you are, if you'd be willing to text a friend, even right now as I'm sharing, hey Billy, hey Bob, hey Jen, hey June, got any plans for the morning of September 10th? Come and watch this message with me that morning or that weekend if you're out of town, or come to Surprise Church Bismarck with me. 80% of people you invite will say yes. I want to close with this thought before we share a video. Our candles are eventually going to burn out. Eventually you and I will no longer breathe. We will be laid to rest. We will all have funerals. They'll write obituaries and mourn and then move on in life. And what's be left of us is the legacy we've left behind and the flames we've lit with our lives. Our candles will eventually burn out. Until then, though, why wouldn't we just live to share the light? Let's use the time we have to light as many candles as possible. Not because we're experts who know everything and just bring Jesus to people as if we're the only thing they need, but just tilt and light, just offer an invite come and see, taste and see, however we can, praying for those opportunities and stepping into those doors when God opens them up. Because that match, if you ever taken a match, you strike the match and then you lower it to the candle. And suddenly you light the candle and back the match away. You've got 2 flames burning, not 1. And you might have time to light another one. Maybe if you're lighting a birthday cake, you can get 4, 5, 6 candles lit. But eventually that flame burns its way down the candle and you got to put it out or it's going to burn your fingers. The flame eventually burns out in any individual life. And so when the time you have left on earth, wouldn't it be awesome to multiply your light so that there's something beautiful burning when you're gone? About a year ago, a family started coming to Surprise. Barb invited her family to join her. Mac was one of the gentlemen that was a part of her clan came. Mac invited JB. There's on our testimonials page, you can see a video of JB saying thank you to Mac for inviting him. And JB also, along with Mac, recently invited an awesome dude named Jeremy to come and hang out with us at Surprise. As we close, I just want to share that story with you.
Faith always been strong. Life was great, but I had a missing piece. So the invite came right on time. Once again, faith always been strong, but of course attending church with people like family, it has made everything much better. I thank him every day. I love you, brother. I love Mac and JB. I love both of y'all like brother, like family. Along with everyone at the church. Thank you guys for having me. Come as you are and enjoy the family and the love and the word. I have invited people to the church, and you know, a lot of people got a lot of questions, and I just always tell them, look at me. I go to the church and I love it. I'm probably the most different person there, but it's like family. Nobody treat me different because of the way I look or the way I am or none of that.
Honestly, just knowing where my journey started here and when I got invited to see how, you know, just that simple invite can impact a life and just change and, you know, allow somebody to, like he said, add that missing piece. Because same as he said, for me and my marriage and my life and everything I've been through, just my transition, leaving Florida and moving to North Dakota, my missing piece was finding a home where I can worship and love and be myself every Sunday or every day out the week and know that, you know, I can text my pastor and ask him a question or just confide in him and other people throughout the church also. So it's a blessing to hear that testimony from my brother, man. I love you too, Jeremy. Big turn. Yes, sir.